Janet. I had a crush on her for so long from seeing her on Good Times and different things. And it was just, I don't know, it was just surreal that I was in her presence.
The reason me and Janet broke up was because she couldn't be with a man like myself. I'm from the projects, I'm hood.
Did you know that there was a scandalous secret Janet Jackson and Bobby Brown hid for decades? In the 1980s, two of the biggest names in music were hiding a relationship that few ever suspected. Bobby Brown called Janet Jackson the crush of my life. But this wasn't a sweet love story. It was messy, painful, and full of secrets.
I mean, when I grew up with New Edition, we smoked weed, we drank beers and things like that. I didn't get into really heavy drugs until I met her.
From shocking claims that Joe Jackson disapproved of Bobby for being too street, to a disturbing hotel room incident where Janet was allegedly thrown out naked. Adding to the mystery were long-standing pregnancy rumors. Did Janet hide a secret child? The truth changes everything. Let's delve in.
I first met Janet Jackson when I was with New Edition, and Michael invited us over to the house.
So in the 1980s, Bobby Brown and Janet Jackson had a secret relationship. Bobby Brown was a young music star, rising to fame with his group, New Edition. Janet Jackson was already a big name, coming from a famous family and starting to shine on her own. Bobby wrote about their relationship in his 2016 book, Every Little Step, My Story. He said that Janet was the crush of my life.
I had a crush on her for so long from seeing her on Good Times and different things. And it was just, I don't know, it was just surreal that I was...
He remembered their time together with love, but also said it didn't last. He believed that Janet didn't feel the same way about him. She liked spending time with him, but she wasn't in love. Also, her father, Joe Jackson, didn't approve of Bobby because he came from a poor background. Joe Jackson was very strict and wanted the best for his daughter, and he didn't think Bobby was good enough.
I mean, I was absolutely head over heels for her. And yeah.
Bobby said he had a hard life growing up. He was raised in the Orchard Park projects in Boston. His family didn't have much money. His dad worked in construction, and his mom was a substitute teacher. Bobby was one of 8 children. He saw and went through a lot of rough things in his childhood. One day, he saw his mother get beaten by police with a baton. She was only trying to stop a fight, but the police arrested her anyway. Bobby said that after this, he was taken to a place run by religious leaders. But it wasn't a safe or good place. He said a priest there tried to touch him in a wrong way. These early life experiences affected Bobby as he got older. He said growing up in the hood made him act wild and get into trouble later in life.
She said, I didn't even know Bobby Brown was from Boston. You see, this is shocking to me because everybody from my neighborhood considers themselves to be the unofficial 7th member of the group.
Even with all this pain, Bobby fell in love with Janet. He said her smile, her laugh, her dance moves, and just the way she made him love being around her. They had fun together and enjoyed each other's company. But their relationship wasn't long. Janet was already engaged to another man named Rene Elizondo Jr. at the time. Bobby said this also made it hard for them to be together in public. She couldn't be seen dating someone like him. In a TV documentary about his life, Bobby opened up more. He called himself a sex addict and talked about other women he had been with, including Madonna.
They're saying that the 53-year-old referred to himself as formerly being, y'all, a sex addict. He said who often bragged about his flings with the many famous women during...
He said those moments were fun, but Janet was different. She was special to him. In one scene from the show, Bobby tries to impress Janet by buying her a car, but she doesn't accept it and sends him away. The show shows Bobby as a man who was crazy about Janet, but she kept her feelings hidden, maybe because of her image, her engagement, or her father.
I had a real crush on her. I mean, I was absolutely head over heels for her.
The reason me and Janet broke up was because she couldn't be with a man like myself. I'm from the projects.
There was a powerful scene that was filmed but never shown on TV. In that deleted scene, Bobby gets upset with Janet because she won't leave her fiancé for him. In anger, he tells her to get out of his hotel room and locks her out in the hallway with no clothes on. This part never made it to the final version of the movie, but people talked about it online. A radio host, Charlemagne the God, even tweeted about it, surprised that the scene was cut. Bobby himself replied, saying the scene was removed at the last minute. Over the years, Janet Jackson has stayed quiet about this relationship. She has never said if it's true or false. She hasn't spoken about Bobby in interviews. Because of this silence, fans have continued to wonder what really happened between them. People on social media often talk about it, sharing opinions and asking questions. Some believe Bobby's story, while others think he may be exaggerating. Bobby also had relationships with other famous women. He said he had a short romance with pop star Madonna.
He claims to have had a sexual relationship with Madonna. Madonna was getting it in, wasn't she?
He didn't give too many details, but he said it was fun and wild. Unlike with Janet, he didn't talk about feelings of love with Madonna. This shows that what he felt for Janet was deeper and more serious. At the time of their secret affair, both Bobby and Janet were becoming big stars. Janet was releasing her famous album Control, which made her even more popular. Bobby was doing well with New Edition and starting his solo career. Being seen together could have affected their careers. Janet had a clean, careful image. Being with Bobby, who was from the streets and had a wild reputation, might have hurt her image. So maybe that's why she wanted to keep things quiet and didn't go public with the relationship. Bobby said he was hurt by the breakup. Now let's change gears and talk about other controversies Janet and Bobby have faced, starting with Janet. One of Janet Jackson's most talked about tours was her Velvet Rope tour in 1998. The promotional pictures for the tour caused a lot of trouble. In these ads, Janet wore a tight, shiny outfit that made it look like she had a large nipple ring on the outside of her clothing. She was also wearing very small bikini bottoms. Many people thought the image was too sexual. Some newspapers and magazines refused to print the ad because they didn't think it was proper for their readers. One newspaper said the photo didn't meet their standards. Janet's team was asked to change the picture, but they refused. In England, a billboard with the same picture had to be taken down. Why? Because drivers kept staring at it, and it caused several car accidents. That's how much attention it grabbed. The show itself also had scenes that shocked some people. The performance of her song, Rope Burn, was especially sexy. During this act, Janet would bring a male fan from the audience on stage. She would tie him to a chair and dance around him in a very suggestive way. She would even kiss him. This became the most talked about part of the show. Some people thought it was too much, but Janet said there was a reason for tying the man to the chair. She explained that during a past tour, a fan touched her inappropriately when she sat on his lap. She couldn't stop him because he was too strong. So, for safety, she made sure future fans were strapped to the chair. It wasn't just about being sexy, it was also about protecting herself. Another song, What About?, showed scenes of abuse and violence in relationships. It shocked some, but Janet said it was meant to open eyes to real-life problems that many people face. In 2004, Janet released an album called Damita Joe. This came shortly after her famous Super Bowl incident, where her breast was accidentally shown on live TV. People were already watching her closely. The new album made some of them even more uncomfortable because it had very sexual lyrics and themes. Some listeners didn't like that she talked so openly about sex. Others thought it was a good thing that she was being honest about love and desire. Janet said in interviews that the album was about love, especially how couples in new relationships often feel a strong physical attraction. She wanted to show that part of love that many people experience but don't talk about much. Critics had mixed opinions. Some said she was just trying to shock people to sell more albums, but others believed she was simply being real about feelings that many people have. Still, even though some people liked the album, it didn't sell very well. It was the first album since 1984 that didn't hit #1 in the US. This was a big change for someone as successful as Janet. Another issue Janet faced was with her 1987 song, Let's Wait a While. This song talked about waiting to have sex until the time feels right. It was gentle, sweet, and meant to encourage young people to think before rushing into intimacy. But later, it was said that the melody of the song sounded very similar to a 1975 song called Daisy Jane by the band America.
Well, the summer's gone and I hope she's...
A man who worked for the band heard Janet's song on the radio and thought it copied parts of Daisy Jane. He called the band's member Jerry Beckley right away. Instead of going to court, both sides agreed to settle the matter privately. That means they worked it out with a deal that stayed out of the public eye. This was done to avoid a big legal fight. Even though the song had a good message, this situation showed that even positive songs can lead to problems when they sound too much like another artist's work. In 2001, Janet released a song called Son of a Gun. I betcha think this song is about you.
Hollering at everything that walks. No substance, just small talk. Know why you...
A remix of the song featured rapper Missy Elliott. Right away, people started guessing who the song was about. The lyrics sounded angry, like Janet was calling out someone who had betrayed her or used her. Many fans and news reporters thought she was talking about her ex-husband, Rene Elizondo Jr. He and Janet had been married secretly for years, and their breakup had been very private.
Your lawyer shoulda let you know, when you sue me, you gon' be broke,
So when the song came out, people started connecting the dots. Janet responded by saying that the song wasn't just about one person. She said it was about several people in her life who had hurt or used her. But even with that answer, many still believed Renee was the main target. This reminded people of when singer Carly Simon released You're So Vain, and everyone guessed the song was about Warren Beatty or Mick Jagger. Just like Carly, Janet didn't confirm who the song was really about, which only made people more curious. 2024, something shocking happened during a live show in Las Vegas. Janet Jackson, the famous singer, was performing on stage. She was doing a song called If, which she first released in 1993. It was the first night of her new Las Vegas residency. Janet wore a leather bodysuit and was dancing in front of her fans. Suddenly, one of her backup dancers came from behind and started touching her chest. He rubbed his hands all over her chest while dancing. This was part of the performance, but many people were surprised. They weren't sure if it was planned or not. It reminded people of an old photo of Janet from the 1990s where two hands covered her bare chest from behind. That photo was very famous and was even on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. But this time, people had questions. Was Janet okay with it? Did she give permission? People also remembered something from many years ago. In 2004, during the Super Bowl halftime show, Janet had a wardrobe accident. Justin Timberlake pulled part of her costume, and one of her breasts was exposed on live TV. That moment caused a lot of trouble for her. Many people blamed her, and she faced a lot of hate. That event is often called Nipplegate. So now, over 20 years later, another shocking thing happened to Janet on stage. People are wondering, why does this keep happening to her? Shouldn't she be protected? She is a legend in music, and some feel she is not treated with the respect she deserves. The dancer's move was seen by some as sexy, and maybe it was meant to be part of the act. But others said it crossed a line. They said no matter if it was part of the show or not, someone touching another person's body should always ask first. This brings up a bigger topic: consent. Now let's talk about Bobby Brown and the controversies that followed him through the years. Bobby Brown started his music career as a young boy. He was a member of a group called New Edition. The group had great success in the 1980s with hits that young people loved. But even when the group was doing well, Bobby was not happy. He wanted to change the group's style. Bobby wanted more freedom on stage and wanted to act more like an adult performer. He started dancing in a more sexual way during shows, which didn't match the group's clean and family-friendly image. This upset the other members and made things tense within the group. Things got worse when Bobby began missing performances. He also started smoking marijuana, which the group didn't like. To punish him, they began cutting his solo parts during shows. Bobby became angry. In 1985, he even threw a microphone at his group mate, Michael Bivins, during a concert. That showed just how bad the relationship had become. The group was falling apart from the inside. In 1986, Bobby left the group. Some reports say he was pushed out, while others say he chose to leave. Either way, the breakup caused bad feelings between Bobby and the rest of the group. Bobby later said he felt held back by the group. He wanted to grow as a performer and do things his way. He said the group didn't allow him to be himself on stage. He felt like no matter what he did, it made the others angry. Money was also a problem for New Edition. The group went on tour with another group, Grandmaster Flash, and thought they would earn a lot of money. But when the tour ended, each member only got $1.87. That was shocking. Ralph Tresvant, another member, said it felt unreal. Ricky Bell admitted they were young and didn't understand how the music business worked. They were being used, and no one told them the truth. These money problems added to Bobby's decision to leave and go solo. After leaving the group, Bobby Brown started his solo career. At first, things looked great. He had hit songs like My Prerogative and Every Little Step. He became very popular. But Bobby was also struggling with something serious: drug addiction. From a young age, Bobby had health problems. He was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, ADD, which made it hard for him to focus. Later in life, he was also diagnosed with bipolar disorder. This condition caused big changes in his mood and made life harder for him. These problems affected his behavior and made it easier for him to fall into addiction. Bobby said he first started using marijuana when he was young.
I mean, when I grew up with New Edition, we smoked weed, we drank beers.
But things got worse after he met Whitney Houston. She was already a famous singer when they met, and soon they started dating.
Things like that. I didn't get into really heavy drugs until I met Whitney, but it destroys people.
Bobby said he never used cocaine before Whitney, but after being with her, he started using it. He also tried other drugs like heroin. His drug use got worse over time. He even admitted that at one point, he was helping cook cocaine. That shows how deep he was in the drug world. His health, music career, and relationships all suffered because of it. Bobby also found himself in dangerous situations because of drugs. One of the scariest moments happened when he was kidnapped by a street gang called the Preacher Crew. The gang took him because he owed them $25,000 for drugs. They threatened to kill him if they didn't get paid. Whitney Houston stepped in and paid a huge ransom, $400,000, to get Bobby back safely. This was never reported to the police. It remained a secret for many years. This showed just how bad Bobby's life had gotten. He was not just using drugs, he was caught in a dangerous world. In 2005, Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston did a reality show called Being Bobby Brown.
Go to get my glasses. Before you go.
The show showed their personal life, but many people didn't like what they saw. Some called it one of the worst shows ever on TV. Viewers were shocked by how Bobby and Whitney treated each other. Their fights, drug use, and bad language made people uncomfortable. It hurt both of their images and made people wonder what was really happening behind closed doors.
Now, can I ask you something?
Yeah, please do.
I'm gonna step out because my wife speaks different.
I think it's very special, and I thought this would be a very special night for my husband.
Bobby's relationship with Whitney had many ups and downs. In 2003, Bobby was arrested for hitting her. He later said in an interview that he had hit her one time. It happened when Whitney tried to stop him from getting into a fight. Instead of calming down, he turned and hit her in the face. Bobby said he was shocked at himself right after. He knew it was wrong. He felt terrible and wished he could undo that moment. But some things, once done, cannot be taken back. He said it changed him forever, but he couldn't take away the pain he caused. There were also confusing things in their marriage. Bobby wrote in his book that Whitney once told him she had a miscarriage. But when he came home, she didn't seem upset. A few days later, she was back at work as if nothing had happened. Bobby thought maybe it wasn't true. He believed her team made up the story to explain why she married him. He asked her about it, but she insisted it was real. Bobby said he never fully believed her. This made their relationship even more difficult, with more confusion and less trust. Their troubled marriage also affected their daughter, Bobby Christina. She was just a child, but she had to deal with very adult problems. A family member once said that little Bobby Christina helped her mom get to bed when Whitney was not feeling well. That same night, the bedroom was a mess. This showed how much pressure was on Bobby Christina, even as a young girl. It was not a healthy environment for any child. Bobby later said he tried to protect Bobby Christina from Whitney's drug use. Sometimes he would try to keep Whitney in her room so their daughter wouldn't see her in a bad state. But Whitney didn't listen. Bobby said, "Nobody could police Whitney. She did what she wanted. That means no one could stop her." Bobby Christina saw her parents using drugs many times. Bobby said he felt guilty. He admitted that he and Whitney failed as parents. They didn't give their daughter the safe and happy childhood she deserved. In 2015, something very sad happened. Bobby Christina was found in a bathtub, unconscious. She was taken to the hospital, but she never woke up. She stayed in a coma for months and then passed away. She was only 22 years old. The way she died was very similar to how her mother, Whitney Houston, died in 2012. Also found in a bathtub. This made people even more heartbroken. Many believed Bobby Christina was deeply affected by everything she went through at home. The media paid a lot of attention to her death. Some people blamed Bobby. Others blamed the people around her. But the truth is, she grew up in a home filled with problems. Between drug use, fights, and lack of peace, it was hard for her to live a normal life. Both Janet Jackson and Bobby Brown have had painful moments in the spotlight. Janet is a strong performer who keeps giving her all, even when people don't treat her right. Bobby is a man who struggled with fame, drugs, and personal mistakes.